Morning, my fellow human beings. My today episode is the same thing like when I'm going to say advising the Joint Chief of Staff in the Congress, I will always advise everyone to be a little bit more human because that's all we got. I regret to say that. That's all we got is that humanity in us that we should be a little bit more careful about. So, if what I just told you is true, then let's break it down. I had an encounter with a friend of mine who came from abroad, and we had the opportunity to be together today for a considerable number of hours. But the most important thing was that he was visiting his friend's wife, who is a professor. And so my duty there was to accompany him to see the wife. And the wife is a storyteller, and she told the story of a short story. But at one point in time, my friend did interject and told her that her definition about the women that she localized should be globalized. It's a way of saying act global, but stay local, but act global. So my friend that differ with her has very reason. And my thing is, I've never been married. I don't have kids. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have no money, no job. Ain't got no money, ain't got no car, ain't got no girlfriend, stuff like that. I can define like that. So, but I'm glad about one thing was that just as I had a short fling with my female friends when I was in Nigeria, after I have already solidly went in and stayed a virgin for so many years after graduating from the University of Ife, School of Agriculture at Akure, as the president of the Student Union Government, as the provost marshal of the Supreme Comradian, very boisterous. There were a lot of girls in our school who, if I, with a swing of my finger, they would have been with me because they were bedding the chief who I was supposed to supersede, or they were bedding the former president, which I was supposed to supersede. So what I'm saying now is that I'm so glad that my friend counteracted the lady. So on the long run, I'm saying when I moved to the United States, where I had the same scenario that was played out in Nigeria with my female counterparts, when I got there, history did repeat itself. And I was able to filter through the rubbish, knowing that this idea of having what you call DICK and PUCCY fight is not worth it, and I will continue to say it because that's what people like Dr. Laura Schlesinger used in making name for herself. She wrote almost like, by now, she must have written about 20 books, like things women do to mess up their life, things men do to tell things that men do to mess up their life. And that's where I got my own wisdom from in terms of this institution I'm talking about. So the point I'm going to press on you today, and I'm going to quickly wrap things up, is that advising the Joint Chief of Staff in the Congress Command, I will always advise everyone to be a little bit more human. And to be more human, you have to be able to know that human sexuality is one of those things that would crumble anyone. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just what you see how Babu is trying to dig himself out of the mess that he created. The mess that he created was as a result of the fact that while they were in a party and Babu was walking towards where they're going to go to the party, he was fingering that woman, senator, while the husband of the woman was walking behind them. That's how ugly most men are. And same thing with most women too, because they are that ugly too. And that's why I call it PUSSY and DICK, fight. And to advising the Joint Chief of Staff in the Congress Command, I will always advise everybody to be more human. Because I'm glad that when I got into my second foray in America, one of the things that the United States did was to say whether, the global environment says that if you go get married to somebody, you become what you call a citizen of that very country. And as such, a girl was playing like that's not what she wanted with me. When as soon as I landed, and I had to call her out. If you want, that's what you want, let's do it. But be advised that you are the one making it happen. I'm not going to walk away from your ass after you've already called that shot and make me a citizen. But because of that honesty, then she ducked away. Subsequently, I've had different. At that point, I wasn't in love. She was in love with me, just like the girl that was in Nigeria. The one that I left behind was in love with me too. But as I walk further and started going through what you call a lot of academic problems, I dashed out and I dashed back in, and I met with a girl who, at this point, was a big fish. And as such, when I came back to the campus, I fell in love, boom, like that. I was so unbalanced that I quickly threw a lot of hand grenade, a lot of missiles into her arsenal, then destroyed the whole love, and so that I can be able to finish my undergraduate degree. As soon as I finished my undergraduate degree, I started to contact with her. On the long run, we got to the conclusion where I now felt that she wanted me, but she wanted me as a houseboy. And as I just told the story a while ago, when I was with my friend today, the only thing I said that I think I will remember is that I told my friend that he said, the lady we are visiting, the husband is a professor in the university, and he was telling her that he was telling him, does my husband know this boy? And he was saying, oh, definitely. I said, man, don't definite any issue here, because I personally was your slave boy. I was your slave when I was with you. You were the slave master and I was your slave boy. It wasn't an equal friendship between you and I. The reason I said that is because I had a hunch in my back that was sitting on top of my nervous system that made me to have what you call, my attention was fried nervously. As at that point in time, then I did say that it was only when my mom told me, if you don't come back on time, you're not going to meet me back in Nigeria, that I gave her a 6 months ultimatum that I will be there. My anxiety went out of whack, and I started having what you call a P capital T, capital P, capital O, capital T, small letter S. Most of you doctors will know what I'm talking about. It's when the part that controls your soft organ goes berserk. And when it went berserk, it affected my hunch in my back. But I did not know. But as I was going into it, I started getting medication that was very hard drug like oxycodone and all that. But at the same time, I was massaging myself, called palpation, and it was able to recalculate my general anatomy and physiology. And I was able to get back to work and keep going and having sleepless night. I have a solution to that problem since then, and I've been doing that. And I'm the only one in the whole 18 billion people who are living on earth who have what you call a nervous problem that did not go to the hospital for a cure. Because my friend was asking me right there, he said, what did you show that to your doctor? I said, yeah, definitely. I showed it to him. What he told me was that if we come into that hunch in your back, you will be incapacitated. You're gone. You're not going to be here. Because that is, your nervous system is all back in that place there. And I told them in the story while we were there that it was when I got into the Nigerian airspace that I now find who I am, because I didn't know who I am all these years. And when I got into Nigerian airspace, because of the type of the water system, because of the anatomy and physiology, the climatical adjustment, physical, emotional adjustment that I was doing, I was a little bit fat in a way when I was back there. So my entire body chemistry went down the toilet where I became so skinny. But I was also going through what we call the meltdown heavily, to the point where I was not able to manage my anxiety. But what I discovered was that the back of my notch, it swelled, it became big. Because I'm talking to you doctors right now. If you guys will have a solution, whether it is Doctors Without Border, who could fly me into New York, whether it is the diaspora doctors, whether I'm using what we call Albert, who used to do coast to coast. He had the same scenario that he was putting out there, and he was able to solve his problem through radio program. He's dead now, and Nori took over the radio program. So, back again to square one, I'm now saying that at the time I'm talking to you now, I'm giving out this nuggets so that you guys can help me to spread the word how I'm going to be able to solve that problem. So when I then saw my notch of my back got very swollen, I had a hand sanitizer that I brought from America. So I rub it onto it. It reduces it very quickly to zero. So I became normal again, and I was like, oh, is that what the problem is? So I now know that it is that notch that may have been sitting on top of my nervous system that made my attention deficit disorder, which, as I told them, my friend, while we were sitting together there, I said, you didn't know me. Even your friend that you think that knows me didn't know me, because I didn't even know myself until about 3 or 4 months ago, when I discovered that what was my problem. So I opened my t-shirts and showed them the notch. And the first thing the guy was telling me is that, did you tell your doctor? I said, I told my doctor. Doctor was telling me, no, doctor, that you will be incapacitated if you were operated. So that's how to connect with humanity. I told the woman before I left there, I said, you are going to have to help me. Do you read? She said, yes. I said, okay. You are going to have to help me to go, and you're going to have to buy my book. That's when she told me, said, you can't sell those books in Nigeria because of the cost. I said, no, I'm not intended to sell my books in Nigeria. I'm going to sell it to the diaspora, because I know a lot of people in the diaspora who are going to buy it, especially the one that I fell in love with. If I tell her to buy 100 million copies, she's going to buy it, because she's a big girl. She hung out with Pelosi, former Speaker of the House. She hung out with Harris. She's a big girl with Sonoma State University. She's assisting the head of that program there. Because she was doing her master's degree when I was doing my undergraduate. But what I did notice was that the undergraduate that we were doing in that little town called Macomb did not even feature in her resume, because she didn't consider that point in time to be relevant to her UCLA, her Berkeley degree, and stuff like that. Let me close this up by saying that I still have my HTTPS // seller.com/0133512713. I still have it to play. So the woman is going to have to buy my book. And I already spoke with a friend of mine today in the morning before I left, who I was in direct contact with when I arrived in United States. Then he got all the citizenship, permanent residency, and now he's in Nigeria and they are paying him money here. And when he left from Nigeria to here, the first thing I was trying to do was try to groom him up so that when I return into the Nigerian airspace, I will be able to ride around with him. But to me, I also knew that I was doing whatever I was going to do to get him going without making sure that if he doesn't have the gravitas to pull it up, it's not going to bother me. I was telling him today that I want you to buy my book. Just like I know that the woman that I was talking to is going to buy my book, I was going to tell my friend today, because at the time I was leaving, I saw him opening his wallet like that. He was sending canned money. And he was saying, let me see him. I said, no, man, you sit your ass back there. You're not going to go with me because I don't need his money. He was smart enough to know that he needed he made a strategic move when I arrived in Nigerian airspace and asked me about my account number. And I gave him my account number. I didn't ask him for money. He did not quickly act. So about a month later, I was telling them, man, you asked for an account number, you are not acting on it. Don't ask me for it. Because I knew it was a strategic move for him, because it was an investment in my future. So he then insinuated that that's all what you guys do. You are always asking for money. It didn't bother me because I didn't ask him for any money. But I can't thank him for that insinuation that I was asking him for money. He did what he wanted to do. So he did not act until I called him. When I called him out about a week or two later, he acted on it. Since then, we have not been talking, but he has told me that he's going to be back to town to come and work on his house, which he did now come in a year later. My thing is that I am living in a guest house in my property. I had a close relative, a close friend of mine, who when he's in town, he stays in his uncle's guest house with his son, who was an ex-governor. I have a car, have everything. My proposition was that this boy should have been living with me, because if I was a billionaire, he would have been rubbing shoulder with telling me, I would just attach him, put him in the guest, like my boy does when he's in town. But because I'm a church rat, he didn't want to be part of my game of living with me in the guest house where I'm living. So when I was there, the lady was asking me, where do you live right now? I said, I'm homeless. The woman was shocked when I said that. I kept repeating, and I told her, I said, well, okay, I'm looking to get an efficiency with a bathroom, a kitchen, with one bedroom. I said, I have a dad's house that I would have loved to go, but there is a boondoggle over the house. That as I'm saying that I'm homeless, it means that this unit I'm living in, I want to portray it, and I think I've already said that before, that I want to make it Uber, Airbnb, because we have already put it to that level where refrigerated, we have 24 electricity, we have refrigerator, we have TV, we have Netflix, we have it's a 5-bedroom with 5 bathrooms, and it's in a place. It's in a highway. So my thing is that if my boy is going to come to town, if I were the billionaire, he would hang out with me. if he was the billionaire before me coming into town, he could have just said, I'm busy right now, I'm not going to be able to see, even when he's a billionaire, because he did not know who I was, nor do I know who I am. So let's wrap things up by saying that I do want you guys to know that the episode today is about when I have a meeting with people, I usually make a clip out of it. It's not a public information. It is just what you call a hash-patch way in which we can make Nigeria work during our lifetime. So I told the woman, you really said yes. I said, you're going to buy my book. She said, what is it about? I said, to make Nigeria work during our lifetime. She didn't gasp, but she did sigh. But told me that Nigerians are not going to be able to buy it because that's how matured she was, which is different from what 2 days ago the young lady I was telling her I was going to give her a book to buy, and she was saying we can't let Nigerian work during that time because she's young. That I can call out to be my future partner because she'll fall into the category of the same type of woman that is hanging out with Obasanjo. Because there was another woman who said she had a stroke with a twins daughter, 25 years ago relationship. But if you look at the relationship between his current young girl that he's carrying around like a portfolio, I envy them. Just like I want to tell you that I will envy Robert Murdoch, or the former Wall Street Journal chairman of I think it's the chairman of the I don't remember, but I do know that he was 95 and the girl was the wife was 35, something like that. Alan Greenspan. So thank you for listening to me. It's a long script, and I do believe that you remember my phone number is 234 7033 627981. Again, my name is Okesoba Idada. I thank you for your support.